The room, shimmering with golden lights and glittering gowns, fell into a hush as the new girl stepped into the prom hall. Amara Johnson, tall, slender, dark-skinned, with tightly coiled braids pinned elegantly above her shoulders, looked like she had walked straight out of a royal portrait. The soft silver gown hugging her figure sparkled under the chandelier, but the confidence in her stride was what truly illuminated her presence. She wasn't familiar to the students of Crestwood High. She had transferred only 2 months ago, mostly silent, always alone, quietly observing the social web around her. But for some, a quiet presence is enough to trigger cruelty. The popular trio, Chloe, Brianna, and Lexi, stood near the punch table with malicious curiosity simmering in their eyes. Chloe, the ringleader with her platinum curls and serpent smile, narrowed her gaze as soon as she spotted Amara stepping inside. "There she is," she whispered, as though she had just found prey. "Little Miss Mystery thinks she's Cinderella." Brianna giggled sharply, her laughter slicing through the music. "More like Cinder Nobody." The DJ kept the music loud, but the whispering crowd carved out a path of unwanted attention. Amara could feel their gazes, some judgmental, some admiring, but most curious about the new girl who seemed so out of place among the sparkling decorations and shallow social hierarchies. She knew this would be an uncomfortable night, but she had promised herself she wouldn't run. She came to Crestwood for a fresh start after years of bouncing around military academies and training camps across the world, places her parents' careers had forced her to live. She had been trained in disciplines most students didn't even know existed, martial arts techniques developed for soldiers, not teenagers. But she had vowed to leave all of that behind. She wanted to be normal, to have one peaceful year, one peaceful night. But peace isn't something bullies allow. Chloe strutted toward her with the exaggerated steps of a model on a runway, Brianna and Lexi flanking her like loyal shadows. The crowd sensed trouble brewing, but no one intervened, they seldom did. Chloe stopped inches away from Amara, fake pity dripping from her lips. "Ah, sweetheart," she said loudly enough for the nearest 20 students to hear. "You must be lost. This isn't the Goodwill fashion show." A chorus of poorly disguised laughter followed. Amara inhaled slowly, forcing her shoulders to relax, even as her fingers unconsciously curled inward, years of discipline reminding her to stay calm. She offered a polite smile, but Chloe wasn't done. "Tell us," Chloe sneered. "Did you save all year for that? Whatever that is?" Brianna snickered. "Maybe it looked better with the lights off." Amara opened her mouth, not to defend herself but to end the interaction quickly. Yet before she could speak, Lexi stepped behind her, pretending to trip. Her hand slammed the bottom of Amara's gown, yanking it downward just enough to throw her off balance. Amara stumbled, catching herself before hitting the floor, but her punch glass spilled across her chest and gown, the cold liquid seeping into the sparkling fabric. Gasps erupted. Someone laughed. Someone filmed. Heat flushed up Amara's neck, not from embarrassment, but from the insult. Cowardly, undeserved, unnecessary. "Oops," Lexi chirped with poisonous glee. "You should watch where you stand, new girl." Amara straightened her posture, forcing stillness into her bones. She reminded herself, not here. Not tonight. Not like this. But Chloe leaned closer, her voice a low hiss dripping venom. "Don't get too comfortable, sweetheart. This school already has queens. And we don't need a charity case princess trying to steal the spotlight." The laughter that followed was the kind that claws at a person's identity, that tries to reduce them to something small. Amara swallowed the rising tide of anger, steadying her breath, though the fire crackling inside her chest warned that if they pushed any further, she might not be able to keep the promise she made to herself. Amara stepped away, finding refuge near the tall windows overlooking the courtyard. The cool evening pressed through the glass, calming her even as tension coiled inside her muscles. She whispered to herself, "No fights. Just finish the year quietly." But the fighter in her, the one trained in discipline, balance and danger, hovered just beneath her skin. Footsteps approached. Chloe. Brianna. Lexi. Again. Chloe circled her like a shark. You can't just walk in and steal attention. I'm not trying to take anything, Amara replied, calm as stone. Liar, Brianna snapped. Then suddenly, Chloe grabbed her gown and yanked hard. Fabric tore, the sound slicing through the music. Students shrieked. Cameras lifted. Amara froze, not out of fear, but because she recognized the moment she'd been trying to avoid. She lifted her chin, voice quiet steel. I didn't want trouble. Chloe smirked, thinking she'd won. But you chose it. The air shifted as Amara's posture changed. Subtle, precise, dangerous. Chloe lunged, but Amara caught her wrist mid-air, immobilizing her with effortless control. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Brianna charged next. Amara sidestepped and Brianna stumbled past. Lexi tried to shove her. Amara redirected her momentum, sending her sliding harmlessly across the floor. The crowd buzzed with shock. Someone whispered, "She's like a ninja." Chloe tried one last strike. Amara caught her wrist again, gently guiding her off balance until she dropped beside Lexi. I don't want to fight, Amara said steadily. But I won't let you hurt me. A teacher rushed in just as students began shouting the truth. Check the cameras. They started it. She didn't touch them first. Chloe realized she had lost control. Completely. Amara stood still, her breathing even, her resolve shifting quietly inside her. Tonight had changed something. As the crowd continued buzzing with disbelief, Amara walked toward the double doors leading out of the hall. The air outside the gym was cooler, quieter, and far more peaceful than the chaos she had left behind. She leaned against the wall, letting her heartbeat slow to something steady. She wasn't proud of what happened, not the humiliations she endured, nor the skills she revealed. She had wanted anonymity, a soft life, a place where she didn't need to always be alert. But the world had a way of extracting strength from those who tried to hide it. She stared at her torn gown, sighing softly. She had planned for this night, hoped for a memory that wasn't tainted by conflict. Yet conflict had followed her anyway. She pressed a palm lightly to her forehead, feeling the weight of her promise slipping from her grasp. Suddenly, footsteps approached. She looked up. It wasn't Chloe, Brianna, or Lexi. It was a small group of students, some she recognized, some she didn't. The one leading them was Jaden Carter, a quiet senior known for his photography and his refusal to participate in the school's toxic social games. His camera hung around his neck, but for once he wasn't lifting it. Hey, Jaden said, his voice soft but sturdy. Are you okay? Amara blinked, surprised. I'm fine. You didn't look fine in there, another girl added gently. And, we just wanted you to know that what they did wasn't right. A few more students chimed in, some awkwardly, some nervously, but all sincerely. Jaden stepped forward. They were out of line. You didn't do anything wrong. Amara exhaled, her shoulders loosening. Thank you, she said quietly. But I don't want more drama tonight. Jaden nodded. We're not here for drama. We're here because, well, what you did was incredible. Amara stiffened slightly. I didn't fight them. You defended yourself, he corrected. There's a difference. Another girl stepped up. And, you didn't even hurt them. You could've, but you didn't. Amara didn't respond, but her expression softened. A beat of silence passed before Jaden said, You know, you don't have to eat lunch alone. Tomorrow, I mean. If you want to sit with us. Amara blinked, caught off guard by the kindness. She opened her mouth, struggling for a response she hadn't prepared for. Before she could speak, the gym doors behind them slammed open. Chloe, Brianna, and Lexi stumbled through, still furious, still messy, still shaken. Teachers followed closely, demanding explanations. Chloe pointed again, shrieking Amara's name. But this time, instead of silence, voices rose in Amara's defense. She didn't touch them first. They tore her dress. They tried to humiliate her. I have it on video. The teachers turned, alarm flashing across their faces. Chloe's mouth fell open as she realized the shift, realized the power she once wielded had evaporated in a single night. Amara watched quietly, for once not feeling alone. A teacher approached her. "Amara, would you like to give your side of the story?" She shook her head gently. "No need." She gestured toward the crowd of students now stepping forward. "They already did." The teacher nodded, acknowledging the unexpected unity. Chloe, realizing she had lost completely, hissed with venom, "This isn't over." Amara met her gaze with steady calm. "For your sake," she said softly, "I hope it is." Jaden stepped beside her, the small group forming a protective arc. For the first time in months, Amara felt the quiet possibility of belonging. And as the prom lights flickered behind them, she finally understood something. She had spent her whole life training to survive. Tonight, she had taken her first step toward simply living.